Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Chiro HD, Softwave, Bridge Financial, 100% Chiropractic, Chiro Health USA, Imaging Services, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, New Patients in a Box, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting our sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 616 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Theo Koenen, and we talk about the base of chiropractic in Europe and how to grow the profession abroad. Stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Today I have Theo Koenen coming on from Lisbon, Portugal, and I'm really excited for this episode. We're going to talk a lot about why Portugal. He has an event coming up at the end of May that I'll be a speaker at, which I'm very honored to be a part of, and where chiropractic is going in Europe, and how do we grow the base. I think those are going to be some fundamental things we're going to talk about. But before we get into this episode, I'm going to tell you our big why. Why do we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle? Well, first things first is freedom of speech. I believe it's very important for us to retain our ability to talk about topics, and we've never censored anyone on this show. We've almost done 1,300 episodes of Chiro Hustle interviews. This is episode 617. Not everything we've ever done has actually been released as an episode. Most of the shows that I do are because I go out to an event and I'll do them live, 20 on a weekend, and those never become real episodes. So people are always confused, like, he's done 1,300 shows. How is he only at 617? Well, that's why. We know what it's like to be shadow banned and traffic throttled. At one point, there used to be almost 100 people that would jump on these live interviews. Now we got maybe 5 people. So the censorship is real. We believe in medical freedom and family health freedom on this show also. They're not the same thing, but if you want that, go find yourself a chiropractor. They're going to help you navigate the troubled waters of what it means to have medical freedom and family health freedom. Philosophically speaking, we protect BJ Palmer Sacred Trust. If you want to know what that is, go to our show notes and find BJ Palmer Sacred Trust. You're going to learn more about chiropractic than you ever did previously, I guarantee you, when you understand the impetus of the big idea around protecting the sacred trust. Guard it well. We support and protect subluxation-centered, subluxation-based chiropractic also. I think that they're taking it out of the schools and out of the education resources. So we like to make sure that we establish a fundamental approach to the philosophy, art, and science of this profession. And last but not least, we believe in the metaphysical part with the physical part. We believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted by a chiropractor, connects them, the physical to the spiritual. And with that, Dr. Theo, thank you for being episode 617 and welcome.
Awesome. Thank you for inviting me, and it's an honor to be a part of it.
Yeah, I just spent time with one of your schoolmates, Larry Ziegler, out in Utah 2 weekends ago, and he sends his best to you.
Dude, I can still remember Larry making these fishing videos in the little pond on the little creek behind Parker, and he's like, "This is how you fish." And Larry, man, amazing guy.
Yeah, he's still at it. He just went down to Colombia for a guided fishing tour, and
I saw that on Facebook.
They call them cichlids, but they're looks like my camera went out there. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, bro.
Okay. Well, I'll work through the camera thing for a moment, but
yeah, I think he was fishing for tilapia or for some kind of but it looked like peacock bass as well. It looked awesome. He was doing amazing fishing down there. Well, one of the cool things about Larry that maybe he's never told was he started out as a security guard at Parker, and he was there for a long time, and he was even invited to come to Portugal by the same guy who invited me to come out here. And I think he turned it down for some reason or other. Maybe it was because he was dating Dr. State's daughter and decided to marry her. But yeah, he didn't come out here to Portugal, and that kind of, I think, it eventually opened up a spot for me. So Larry was there for a long time and just really embodied the principles of chiropractic. And he was one of those guys that from the very beginning took part in the class, took part in the philosophy, and really showed that it was a
All right.
thing to be part of.
We're talking about one of your colleagues, Larry Ziegler, and fishing and memories of chiropractic college back at Parker. And I was going to segue into the part about your career and how you got into chiropractic. And I know we had a chance to be together over at Chiro Europe, and you were sharing some of the backstory about how you got to become a chiropractor. And I think your father had influence on that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. My dad was a roofer, a contractor. He did a lot of work, and he hurt his back sometime when I was about 9 years old in Florida. And we had the opportunity to meet a chiropractor in a small town that we lived in. And thank goodness this chiropractor said to my dad, first of all, that your family should be checked. You're back on, by the way, camera-wise. And also, he said, I think you'd make a good chiropractor. And my dad, who'd been told by his guidance counselors and all these people that, supposedly knew everything they should know, they told him that he would never be anything, so he should just skip college and go to the trades and do something. And my dad at that point, when he heard this inspiring message from the chiropractor, decided, I'm going to check out on some college classes. And he went back to school, and he got his bachelor's and eventually went back to chiropractic school. And that was what was the inspiration for me.
So you grew up in Florida.
Yes. Part of like from six to maybe 15 years.
And then Texas.
Yeah.
And then you went to college in Texas.
Yep.
Is that where your father went to?
Yep. Both of us went to Parker, chiropractic school. And then it was still a school back then. It wasn't a university. Jim Parker was still there when I was there. He actually died when I was in school there. So we were talking about that with a former alumni that I met in Germany this weekend. Just interesting how things happen. But yeah, we were there. And then from Parker, I practiced in Texas for a little bit, then Wisconsin, back in Texas, and then had an opportunity to come to Portugal.
Yeah, so that's a big part of our conversation today is Portugal. Why Portugal?
Well, Portugal is interesting because in reality, I think as an American, I loved history and I loved learning about the exploration. And for me, it was all Spanish people. There were Portuguese, they were involved, but like Vasco da Gama and Magellan, they were Spanish people for me. And in reality, they were Portuguese. And this chiropractor that my dad had gone to school with came over here and built a great practice and said he needs some help and was always looking for somebody to come over here and help him out. And my dad said, look, I know the guy, he's there, he's waiting, he's not ready yet. And the time came and sent me over here. And from then on, I came here, worked a couple of weeks, went back home for about a month, sold everything I had, came back here, and I was in Portugal for life.
So the journey started out of necessity. And then you had a little bit of wanderlust in your life. And as you've matriculated over there, you said you were an associate?
I worked for a guy for about a week. And after a week,
How did you get to where you are today then?
Well, the way that it was happened is that after a week, he decided that I wasn't the guy to work for him, and he said, I don't think it's going to work out, which I was devastated. I can remember literally crying and basically almost in his arms, like as he was hugging me, saying everything's okay, and I'm crying because I was like, I've moved my whole life over here, a new country, don't speak the language, et cetera, et cetera. And I had an opportunity, a friend of mine that I'd recently met just said, look, I'll give you an opportunity. I'll kind of stay course you. I'll give you a place to stay, and let's talk. And he offered me a deal that really was crazy, and I couldn't accept that. But he said, look, you can stay at my house, just wash my dishes, take care of things in the house, and you can sleep on the living room floor or whatever. And that's what I did. And that's how I got started, and just word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth. And, like BJ says, helping sick people get well. And that's how the word spread. And as it's continued to spread, that's how my practice built, and, got opportunity to buy into other practices. And, we come to the point now where we've got a couple of offices and, lots of patients, lots of interaction, several national, international appearances on television and radio, et cetera. And it's just really been something. From what I was explained to in the beginning was I was going to be a pioneer, and I was going to help spread the word of chiropractic to a country that really needed it. And that's been my purpose since I got here.
So talk about timeline. How long ago was it you're sleeping on the floor to where you are today, helping with the political aspect of chiropractic?
Well, if we say how long ago was it between then and today, it's been 22 years. And 22 years, but it hasn't been 22 years until I could say I was successful and was able to reap the benefits of, talking the message of chiropractic. So Portugal has been an incredibly amazing experience for me. It's been great to be able to help so many people that have had literally no recourse other than what we've been able to offer. And that's just been the most awesome thing for me, is that we get to offer something to help people not suffer needlessly. And I think that, especially in a country that's so dominated by medical doctors and medical dogma, the fact that we can offer something different and very, very effective is amazing to me. And it's just amazing to be part of that.
So I'm really curious. Portugal doesn't have a chiropractic school, does it?
At this point, no.
How have people found their way to Portugal besides yourself and become practitioners of chiropractic in Portugal?
Well, I think in the beginning, there were two chiropractors. One was a Portuguese chiropractor who had gone to Life College and immigrated from France to Portugal. And he started in the north of Portugal about 25, literally the APQ is 25 years. So it's probably 30 years ago that he started. And then another chiropractor from Texas Chiropractic College, who was Canadian, came over here and also started a practice. And they got together and began to create the first steps of the association here in Portugal. And they started handing out cards. They started talking to people about what they did. And they literally were almost like a mission trip. They were doing miracles. They were doing things that nobody else in this country was doing. And so they just built these huge waiting list practices that, were like, okay, well, I need more people to come and help me. So they brought more people and brought more people and brought more people. And because of that, I think in part of that wave, not directly part of it, that's how I came to be here. And that's how a lot of the other chiropractors came to be here as well.
So now let's talk about your service inside of this organization. Why did you think it was such a necessity that you joined and started helping out with you call it the APQ?
Yeah, the APQ, I'll say it in Portuguese and then I'll put it in English. APQ, Associação Portuguesa dos Chiropracticos. The APQ is the Portuguese Chiropractic Association. Why did I think it was important? For one, it was interesting that I would never imagine not starting to practice in the States without being part of the association, because that's just your protection. That's your base. That's how you're gonna be able to relate with the government, relate with the public, and relate with any kind of legal difficulties that you might have. So for me, having the association here was already something that I would say is a huge value added thing. Secondly, at the time that I came here, there was no law. There was literally, as a chiropractor, you were in the same classes as when I came here. They said you're like a drug dealer. You're selling drugs. You're making a lot of money. You're not paying taxes, and like a drug dealer. And so I'm like, wow, I'm doing this amazing thing. Like one of my friends this past weekend gave me a hat that said "Drug War Veteran," and I thought it was hilarious, the hat, but it's like true. We are drug war veterans. We've been fighting against the drug war, whether it be illegal or legal pharmaceuticals, for years and years and years. And what do we have to show at the end result of that, right? It's like the people in this country have been addicted to drugs for years and years and years, and they have no other recourse other than to turn back to the medical doctor. So we came here, it was illegal, and the idea of having the association and being part of that association to get a law, to get recognized by the government, to have the possibility of creating a school to legalize chiropractic in Portugal. That was why I said I have to be part of this association.
And seeing it develop the way that it has, and saying that you've helped organize it to where that people can actually practice under a charter that gives them legitimate chiropractic. How have people found their ways to chiropractors if they know nothing about it?
It's interesting because as the initial way when I first came here was 100% word of mouth. There were those very few, rare and far between people that would say that, oh, I know what a chiropractor is. I've been to a chiropractor before, whether it was in the UK or in the States or whatever. But the majority of people that find out about chiropractic were finding out from the experiences that they had from chiropractors that they'd been adjusted by here in Portugal. As far as recently, TikTok, even though I heard that's recently being banned now in the States, TikTok, YouTube, all these crack compilations and things like that, people here love them too. And so I can't tell you how many patients we've gotten from literally the fact that it's like, my kids said I needed to come in here. My kids said I needed to get my neck cracked because they saw on TikTok. Like, we don't have anything on TikTok. I'm not I'm too old for that, I think. I don't know. But, like I don't have a TikTok account. I don't have an Instagram. But at the same time, it's like people know what it is, and they're seeking it out now, and that's kind of a cool thing.
So the wave of influence is very much driven by social media now.
Some of it is, yeah. I think more and more the internet, social media is definitely a strong force. However, I will say that the way that I see things here in Portugal, it's still the same. Word of mouth is king.
Mm-hmm.
Word of mouth is king.
I guess I have a few more paths of questioning based on all this too, is because I'm very much a traditionalist when it comes to chiropractic. When people ask me like where we were at the advent of people wanting to show the adjustment, I have my own viewpoints on that. I know that you said it's helping with the marketing aspect of it and driving in people to these clinics, but how do you feel on a broad spectrum of people actually showing the adjustment to the public without actually getting the experience firsthand?
That's a great question. I think that in many ways, what we see as far as people watching these videos, and especially the crack compilations, and some of these videos that especially you see from, you don't even know if they're chiropractors or not, they're just people manipulating or whatever, making noise. I think it does take away a little bit of the value of the adjustment. I think that people think that it's either a panacea, it's an instant pain relief, or it's like, I just want to get that experience, I just want to feel that. And not that there's anything wrong with feeling that, but I just think that there's so much more to the chiropractic experience, rather than just getting adjusted once, to getting adjusted on a regular basis and having your nervous system being in equilibrium, and equality, having the brain communicating with the body, having the brain body communication being something that's in balance, and that the brain and the body can adapt to the stress that we encounter on a day-to-day basis. That's what the chiropractic adjustment is for me. And that's something that you're not going to see on a TikTok video.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Chiro HD, Softwave, Bridge Financial, 100% Chiropractic, Chiro Health USA, Imaging Services, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, New Patients in a Box, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting our sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle. Well, a lot of people that have watched our show for the past 6.5 years, they know that I've gone out and scheduled almost 10,000 new patients into chiropractic offices. So I'm like right on the front lines out there. You know, I'm toe to toe with humanity. People that talk to me have no idea about this beautiful profession. So it's up to me to be an educator, but also an entertainer, but also a sales guy. So I've had to like learn how to interact with people on a whole different level when it comes to finding their way to chiropractic. And I can't tell you how many young kids have more of a love affair and a want to come see the chiropractor rather than the older generations that were fed the dogma that chiropractors weren't real doctors, and they were part of like the empire of the AMA that tried to eliminate and destroy chiropractic by defaming it. And those people, they'll come in as a last ditch effort, but the young kids, for lack of a better phraseology, they say, I want to come in and get cracked like a glow stick. And I think it's kind of funny in a way, but they don't understand that like getting cracked like a glow stick actually makes their nervous system function better. They don't understand that when they get that adjustment, it's going to take away their text neck from hunched over their laptop and their digital device for 9 hours a day. They don't understand that getting chiropractic is going to, help them with the headaches and the migraines that they get, and help them sleep better and make their body digest the food that they're eating better. And I think it's really interesting that kids, because of technology, are finding their way to have a respect for chiropractic, even though they don't know how well they should respect it quite yet. But I think that we're changing the perception of how people will start to line up and come to the chiropractic centers around the world, because they do understand that it's helping people. They might not know exactly what it's helping with, but they're like, that experience looks awesome. I want that. So me as a fundamentalist, I always told people, don't ever show the adjustment. Do not ever put the adjustment out there on social media. We don't want that. We don't need that. I just was always vehemently against it. So seeing what people are saying, I'm just curious. The next follow-up question to this is, how many people come into you, Dr. Theo, and say, I want the ring dinger?
I'd have to say that here in Portugal, it's fairly rare. We don't get a lot of that. There are some people that will see some of those videos on TikTok. I always refer to it because it's part of the social, it's part of the cultural communication. These days, younger people, that's their reality. But at the same time, the way that we approach patients and the way that we approach our new patients from the very beginning is from a base of education and letting them know what we do and what we don't do, and that it's not all about just getting cracked and getting this, release. It's about reconnecting the brain and the body, and if you can do that, then you can bring about true healing, and healing naturally without drugs or surgery. And I think if you can tell people that they can have a better quality of life through what we do, then aside from just alleviating their symptoms or alleviating their symptoms, then you can give them that part of life that they didn't even know they could have. And especially these days with people that are getting older and older, and with all the technology and all the pollutants and all the things like that that are causing more stress on our bodies, they can really get a chance to have their life back that they never knew that they'd even lost. And that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, one of my favorite chiropractors of all time, his name is Patrick Smith. He's actually never done a Chiro Hustle interview with me, but he's in our first movie, Chiropractic, the documentary. And if you guys want that, I'll give you the link. If anybody wants to watch it, if anybody wants to watch our first two movies, I'll give you the link, and I'll send that to you. They're free, and it's my life's work. It's actually what got me into starting a podcast. Was we produced a documentary, and I met Dr. Patrick, and one of the coolest things. I mean, I think it's cool, but one of the things he would always tell his new patients is, "Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick. You're my patient, and I'm going to be your chiropractor, and you're going to be my patient until one of us blows up." And it sounds funny, but that's like the highest level, like, commitment that you'll ever get from a practitioner. And he says, "I want to be your chiropractor for the rest of your life." And I think that that's really how we have to approach the future of chiropractic, is we have to have a personality that says, "I want to take care of you and your family from today until there's no more days. And I want to treat and take care of your kids. And I want to take care of your spouse. And I want to take care of the grandparents." And that's why, for so long, I always tell people that chiropractic is womb to tomb. It's from cradle to grave. It's from first breath to last breath. And it's not about getting through a time in your life where you have pain or a condition that you want solved. It's about having a relationship with the practitioner that's going to help be provider to you, that's going to keep you away from the pills, potions, and lotions. It's going to keep you away from the doctors that cut it out, drug it out, and burn it out. It's going to set you up for a lifelong success with your nervous system that no one else can provide to you. And that goes back to full anchor of why I love the humor around Dr. Patrick Smith saying, "I'm going to be your chiropractor, you're going to be my patient until one of us blows up." And that person that comes in and hears that will never forget that.
Yeah.
Ever. And they're going to go home and they're going to be like, they're going to be jovial and they're going to laugh. And they're going to tell their friends and family about this chiropractor that's crazy enough to tell them that he's going to be with them for the rest of their life. But that's a commitment. And I think that's what the true undercurrent of chiropractic, with the reality of what people are seeing on the social media, that if you make a commitment to somebody and tell them that you want to take care of them, that's what's going to get you that base of referrals. That's what's going to keep that person coming in and staying consistent with their care with you, even after they finish like the initial care plan that you set out for them. Yeah. And it is a beautiful profession. It helps a lot of people. And I tell people all the time that most people don't go to the chiropractor because they don't know where to go or who to trust. And then I refer them to come back to our show. Like, go listen to an episode of Chiro Hustle. You're going to find much more appreciation listening to the stories of these practitioners than you can if you ever did anything else to educate yourself about chiropractic. I know you have an event coming up, and we can talk for the next 30 minutes. It would be fine by me. But Let's talk about the event that you're doing in May that
Yeah.
I'll be speaking at, and maybe talk about you guys have had a gap between live events, and now this is the first one in a couple of years, and maybe touch on the big why around this event and some of the speakers.
Yeah, well, the events, as far as one of my jobs as far as being part of the executive environment of the APQ is organizing seminars and trying to raise funds for the development of chiropractic in Portugal, which means possibly a school, dealing with the government, dealing with legal issues and things like that. But and that's something that, as an association, we're all concerned about. So 5 years ago was our 20th anniversary. We did a seminar called it was the science, communicating the science of subluxation. And basically, we had a good group of people, multi-speaker seminar, and the idea was just to be able to figure out how to get new patients and communicate to those new patients about subluxation and about why you're wanting to bring them in. And then our focus this year, 5 years later, after COVID and after all that other stuff, our focus this year is to try to be able to take those patients that you've been able to get in and now communicate to them in a way that's based on your philosophy, based on the love that you have for them, and just loving and communicating with your patients to keep them and to maintain them and to keep them under care as chiropractic patients. So what we've done is we've gathered a group of speakers that deal with pediatrics, deal with influence. We've got Martin Harvey speaking about influence, things like that. We've got the Florianis that are coming in talking about children and adjusting babies, adjusting children, adjusting families. We've got some speakers from Chiro Europe who are going to speak about different ways of practicing as far as different care plans and different ways of focusing on how to get those patients in. We've got you, who's going to talk about getting new patients into the office and probably other things that I haven't even heard about. We've just got a nice varied program. Some of the best comments that I heard about the last program that we did, they said it was like Parker in the old days, Parker in the days that it was good. It was a lot of varied material that came together, and it was the synthesis of, this is chiropractic for everybody. It's not chiropractic for this group. It's not chiropractic for that group. It's chiropractic for everybody. And you can take this and apply it and pick the nuggets out of what you hear this weekend. And on Monday, you're going to go back a much richer, much more developed chiropractor.
I can't tell you how much I love that theme, chiropractic for everybody. And I believe that you do have to take it through the arc, take it through how to build a practice, how to take care of children, how to take care of people as they're on their journey, and how to communicate this to all new patients, and how to get people to understand that they should be staying under care and that it is a huge value that they should be paying for, probably 10 times as much as they do pay for it. And then how to keep them under lifetime care rather than just getting them out of a condition or some symptoms. And as in the States, as you probably know, you've heard this before, get them to stay, pay, and to refer.
That's
And
it.
I think that that's the brilliant part of what chiropractic is globally, is understanding that it's not just a 2 to 3 adjustments or 7 PVA. And that's the way that we're going to grow this practice of chiropractic globally. I believe that chiropractic globally will be grown when we start taking care of the entire family unit. And that's what I see in Latin America, in Mexico, and the Hispanic patients that come to America, and the Spanish speaking patients that come to America. Once one comes in and they see it's working, like the whole family starts. And the whole family doesn't come in because they have headaches and, bad low backs. They come in because they see the miracle that happens with one family member. And then the family member is like, I want this for all of my family. I want them all to be healthy and happy and to be symptom free. And I think that that's really how we need to navigate this thing going forward, is the familial aspect of chiropractic rather than the individualistic aspect of chiropractic. And when you
100%.
know that, now you have sustainability in practice, and it's going to be so much more fun.
Way more fun.
Let's go a little bit further. Can anybody come to the seminar? Like, is it only open to Portuguese chiropractors, or what is your hope for in the audience that you bring in for the program in May?
No, this seminar is obviously to celebrate 25 years of existence of the Portuguese Chiropractic Association, but all chiropractors are welcome, and we invite you to come, not only to experience and celebrate with us the 25 years, but if you've never been to Portugal, it's an amazing place to visit, and I'd highly recommend taking a week or so to just take off and practice, come to the seminar, and then go check out Portugal. There's so much to see in the Lisbon area where the seminar is located. There's tons of stuff to do. It's just one of those things that aside from being a great seminar or something that you're going to take a lot home from, it's an opportunity to take a break. And there's a beautiful and amazing place to take a break, and that's here.
Well, I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity to come and spend some time in Portugal too. And I think that anybody that will go the path of joining us, they're going to flourish, not only with their careers and their purpose, but they're going to flourish with their relationships. And I think that that's really what I've learned from the most influential people in the world, after studying so many and interviewing so many, that it all goes back down to the responsibilities of having positive relationships with your community and with your friends and family. So I'm really excited to become a part of the community and the family over there in Portugal with the Association of Chiropractic in Portugal. But I guess I have two more questions for you. Is that okay?
That's fine, man. Great.
When it comes to the future of chiropractic, I know that that's a big idea, like BJ Palmer once stated, and there's a lot that goes into that curiosity. But where is the profession headed 10 years from now, 20 years from now? What do you see happening?
I guess it depends on what I see happening and what I'd like to see happening. For me, I heard that just recently New Mexico legalized drugs for chiropractic, and that's, for me, it's very sad to hear that happened, because for me that doesn't embody chiropractic at all, as far as philosophy, as far as what we started out as. The way I see chiropractic in the future is, I see podcasts like this. I see people getting more information, more informed, people becoming more aware of the principle and beginning to live the principle, becoming to be the principle that there is a universal intelligence in all things, and that part of that universal intelligence is in all of us, which is innate intelligence. And that if we can communicate that principle and the application and the evolution of that principle in all of our patients' lives, that will change the world, change the society. That will be basically what they call BJ's utopia. And if that is to happen, then our profession will become dominant and will be solid as far as it comes for the next many years. But if we continue to waver in our philosophy and waver in our position, then we've got some worry ahead of us.
Very sobering perspective, and I love it. And I do believe that at the end of my first film, Chiropractic, the documentary, I tell people about BJ Palmer's big idea, and that this thing can grow. And we tell one person, they tell another person, we get one healthy person, we get one healthy family, we get one healthy city block, we get one healthy community, we get one healthy city, we get one healthy state, we get one healthy country, we get one healthy world. And that's how I believe that BJ Palmer wanted the chiropractic utopia to go. And now we just have to keep on proving that it's safe, affordable, and effective, and it's for everybody. And I've honestly seen a lot more people coming into me that want to come in, not because they have any condition. They want to come in because they want to feel better longer. And that's the truth of chiropractic, is it's not about getting you out of something or through something. It's about giving you quality of life long term. And you stay away from sickness and infirmary at that point, and you don't need more pills, potions, and lotions. And I believe that that's really the foundation of what makes this profession so profound and helpful. And the services that chiropractors provide, you're not going to find that anywhere else. I was just over speaking in London, and there's so many people talking about physios and things. And I was like, look, there's 2 doctors you should have in your life, one to keep you healthy and one to save you from dying. And I was like, chiropractic is a bit of both, but there is a place where we need emergency medical. And that doesn't have anything to do with like day-to-day quality of life. The only people that can help with that is the chiropractor. It's not the next pill you're going to take that doesn't have an endpoint. It's not the next injection you're going to take that doesn't have an endpoint. Like there has to be like a story arc when something starts and where it ends when it comes into what we're putting into our bodies. But with chiropractic, it doesn't put anything extra in the body. It simply removes the interference. And that's the beautiful thing about this profession, is it is founded on philosophy and tenets of historical references. And that's why I open it up the way that I do. We stand for certain things, we protect certain things, and we will not remove certain things from the lexicon or the tenets of this profession from a historical reference point. So if you guys are out there and you're watching and you think that you would like to come and join us in Portugal for the 25th anniversary of the Portuguese Chiropractic Federation event, where can people get tickets? Where do we send them to? And how do people become involved with us?
Okay, that's probably you're going to include the links
yes,
in the bottom underneath, but we've got a website specifically set up to deal with any kind of ticket purchases. We have a hotel deal especially set up right now. Unfortunately, we're at the very end of our second early bird. The early bird will end literally on the 24th of March. So the second early bird will end, and then the price will go up a little bit more. But, it's a great opportunity to get the hotel at a great price, especially in Lisbon right now. The prices of hotels, the price we've got is an amazing price. But aside from that, it's an amazing venue, food, golf. There's a 9-hole golf course at the hotel, which I think is hilarious, because in Europe, it's not that big of a deal, but I think for Americans, it might be kind of cool. But the seminar is going to be fantastic. Check the site, the reference down below. I think it's 25apqconference.com, if I'm not mistaken. And that has all the information about the speakers, information about all the pricing, information about the hotel, gala dinner. We're going to be celebrating 25 years, so we're going to party. Seminar is going to be Friday and Saturday. And then Sunday, you can sleep in till as late as you want or go do the sightseeing. It's set up for you.
Well, Dr. Theo, you are episode 617 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. It's great to finally have you on.
I really appreciate the invite, Jim. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry about the technical issues earlier. We had 2 wires get bumped and get disconnected, but we adjusted it. And if that's any kind of
sounds
reference
chiropractic
point, if that's any type of reference point to chiropractic, even when things are bad, they can get adjusted and we can get back online. So I'm just going to reiterate: hotel, the venue, the food, the golf, all at the conference. 25apqconference.com. Come to join us, and I think that Portugal is going to have amazing opportunities for more people to see the power of chiropractic together. And I'm really excited to be a part of this group moving forward. And I think that there's so much more to offer, but we should all come together as one big family and start celebrating that as a group, and realizing that all chiropractors are more alike than they are different, and that we just have to follow good philosophical roots and continue taking care of people one spine at a time. And with that being said, Dr. Theo, I'm going to sign off and let you get some sleep over there in Portugal, and tell everybody you're just one story away. Keep hustling. Check us out at chirohustle.com. And if you want a link to those movies, send me a direct message or send me a message through the website. Dr. Theo, good night, okay?
Good night. Appreciate it, Jim. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for being on with us. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.